ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Jay and Will Show. I am Jay,
I am Will.
and we are back with another recap video, guys. So,
We
obviously, Cowboys Chiefs game didn't go as what we thought. I do think that um, when we got the schedules at the beginning of the year, we probably already had this one chalked up as an L more than likely, but.
yeah,
Uh, just seeing how the team had kind of progressed throughout the season, certainly it had a more optimistic look at what could potentially come out of this game. And folks that saw the game, no, it wasn't pretty.
yeah,
The Cowboys ended up losing this game 19-9, and so don't want to spend a whole lot of time setting it up. I'm just gonna hand it over, bro. We'll take it from here, man. Just give us your thoughts on how the game went, and just an overall synopsis of the way things went for the Cowboys in that one.
Well, I guess at this point, we can say that we'll only go as far as Tyrant's body will take us at this point because outside of basically the last two losses between Broncos and Kansas City is basically him not being in the game, and so uh, the left side that gets pushed in on, and it's just not being able to run the ball smoothly, lack of protection, and then the defense has to try to hold up a little bit more than what they would typically do. For them to hold Kansas City to one touchdown and five field goals, they did their thing.
Yeah,
Just you couldn't ask more for them to be able to just hang in there like they did. So, and then the offense didn't give them anything to even help them because it was just a bad game offensively, and it was just crazy because like that was who was like, yeah, the offense be able to do their thing. It's just primarily the defense need to
right.
be able to hang on, just to have a chance to end the game and end up going another way. Defense showed up in the game, and the offense just didn't show up today, especially when you have Terrence Steele not getting off the ball to block, and the defender runs right around him at the snap, which was just terrible and incredible at the same time.
Mm,
But I think the main thing, yeah, moving forward would be to pay attention to Tyron's body. If I would have been the Cowboys, I would have flipped it. I would have played Tyron Sunday, just because I feel like it would have been a tougher game, and then sat him for Oakland, or at least check how his body feels for Oakland, and then have him try to get him ready for New Orleans game. But it's not too terrible of a loss because it was AFC team, not an NFC team. So
mhm.
if you're going to take a loss, take it to an AFC team. Because at the end of the year, that's where a lot of it would be hung on. A lot of the games would, the tiebreakers and things would be interconference matchups. So uh, and so right now with that loss in Tampa, uh, going at the Giants on Monday. Dallas sitting at number four, but we'll see how it go. Schedule is still wide open for everybody. Anybody can take an L, as we've seen in
Yep.
the past few weeks. I guess for the whole season, but it's taking like a step up over the past couple of weeks with a lot of the upper tier or expected upper tier teams been taking losses to towards the bottom of the talent pool type of teams. So,
Yeah.
but like they say, any given Sunday, anybody can get beaten. That's what's been happening, and that's part of the love for the NFL is that anytime a team can get beat like that, pretty. It's, if pretty or not pretty, it can happen. So,
Yep.
what you think?
Um, I don't really have a lot to add to what you mentioned. Um, just kind of disappointing, obviously.
Yeah,
Wasting an effort by a defense
yeah,
that Micah played out of his mind in that game, and you hate to waste that type of a performance because the offense
yeah,
just wasn't prepared. It seemed like
yeah,
you talked about just the lack of uh, really just any sort of protection with Terrence
Yeah,
Bennett being in lineup. Chris Jones just having a career game seemed like obviously he's obviously been
he's
good, but
very talented. Yeah,
it's unbelievable. And there are discussions about how ever since the Chiefs picked up Melvin Ingram, it allowed Chris Jones to get back into the interior, which is kind of where he prefers to be and where he's allowed
yeah,
to be attack a little bit more. And we certainly saw that with the way he was able to handle Conor McGovern and even got Zach Martin at one point. So obviously he's he just wreaked havoc and didn't allow us to really get anything going, which
yeah,
kind of makes it tough. Obviously, if you don't have the time to get the ball to receivers, it doesn't matter how open they are. And we saw our fair share of drops in that game as well.
yeah.
Cedric Wilson had
His
a couple
focus right
at
there.
the top of my head, so there were some
Yeah,
opportunities there that were missed, and it was one of those games that was kind of hard to watch because it was like the defense just kept you in it the whole game. So all you kept saying is, man, if they could just if
this
they can
was
score right here,
yeah.
we good. There was never more than a 2 possession lead. So they were
Hmm.
always in the game. And those are kind of the more excruciating ones because it's like, if you're not going to show up to get your doors blown off like the Denver game, let's move on. But the fact that
Yeah,
defense played the way they played, they kept them in the game and gave them an opportunity. To see the offense not be able to capitalize that off of that is disappointing. Um, yeah, obviously losing, not having Amari was one thing, but then losing CD at the half with the concussion just made it more difficult for, you got guys in there who Gallup was his second game back, and then you got
mm-hmm.
Noah Brown in there taking, quality reps. It's just tough to ask in those situations, guys who aren't used to having to make that play, that big play when you need
Mm-hmm.
it, and
Yeah,
win on routes and things like that against starting corners is tough. Not to make excuses, obviously. I mean, everybody's got certain elements that they're dealing with as far as the team is concerned. But man, it's tough when you don't have your starting left guard. You obviously don't have your primary receiver. Your second receiver goes out at halftime, and then you're out both your D ends. We already talked about coming into the game,
yeah,
so it's tough. It's tough, but you still got to go out there and play. And even without that, that star power that was missing, they still were in the game throughout the whole thing. And
yeah,
obviously, we don't want to count moral victories because there's no such thing. But at the end of the day, there's stuff to build off of, and it's just a matter of being able to have the offense and defense play consistently together at the same time that you feel like is their best opportunity to be one of the better teams in the league. So disappointing loss. I don't know if there's anything they're taking out of it outside of the fact that, at the end of the day, you got to make plays, and we didn't do that. And
yeah,
you have a team that just 2-time AFC champion in a row, represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Like you're going into their stadium, you can't. There's no half
yeah. It's
stepping,
huge.
and
Yeah,
they're ready to play, and it didn't seem like we were. So just got to put this one behind you. And, obviously we have the Raiders coming up, which we'll discuss here in a second. But yeah, got to move forward because we don't have enough time to deal with it because
yeah,
we got a game in a
yeah,
couple of days. So
yeah, exactly.
it's interesting. But anything else on the Chiefs game you want to touch on before we move forward?
Um, I think special teams still do well. It's just been incredible that when it comes to consistency, is the special teams outside of basically that first game and maybe one other, they've been pretty consistent. So I think Bones Fossil has really got been able to take the special teams to a whole new level. So I gotta shout him out more
Yeah.
again just because of the consistency. It's been a while since we've had as for a special team. So it's pretty nice to have.
And they had some opportunities too. I think it was like two of them. They almost blocked on those punts.
Hmm. Yeah,
That
Micah almost got one.
Yeah, Michael almost got one. Yeah, so
Yeah.
short field. I mean, and Micah got. I mean, he had a sack fumble that got them a short field, and they had a pick from
Yeah.
J. Curse that got him a short field. So obviously, don't guarantee they would have got something out of it, but
Yeah.
that one would
Just
have
an
been a huge.
opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, credit to Bones for being what he's been, and like you said, we just haven't seen that since what Avazano. I mean, maybe Joey
Yeah, at
DeCamillis,
least.
maybe. Deacon Millis, maybe. But yeah, just shout out to them because that's something that's going to be important, particularly in the playoffs. Those
Yeah,
things can potentially be the difference in the game. And so, certainly happy to have that consistency from him, and the guys are playing
yeah,
well. Hoping that just carries on throughout the rest of the year.
that part.
All right, so we'll put that game to bed because Lord knows we ain't got time about that.
Yeah.
So we will now move forward to look at the games coming up this week, or particularly the Thanksgiving games that are coming up. We have a triple header Thanksgiving, so we will give those games the adequate amount of time because we got a little bit of time on these 3 games. So
Yeah.
we'll start off with the early game, which is going to be your Detroit Lions game, and they are going to be hosting the 3-7 Chicago Bears. Obviously, Detroit still without a win as they lost
Yeah.
last week. They're now 0-9-1. Thanksgiving, obviously, along with the Cowboys, is their traditional game.
Yeah.
So obviously, we know, at least we've seen recent reports that because of his injury that he sustained, I think it was a rib injury last week, Justin Fields will not be playing in this game, and Andy Dalton will be starting.
Tough.
So with that being said, knowing who will have in that game, will any chance Detroit finally gets their first game in the first win of the year at Thanksgiving?
Uh, it's possible because Chicago should have won that game on Sunday against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Then they just let that guy just drive down Huntley, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up just driving downfield their last drive and put up a score to win, which was insane. So yeah, I think Detroit does have opportunity to get that first dub. No Khalil Mack to deal with on the other side. You have a statue, basically to me, a statue in Andy Dalton instead of athlete like Justin Fields. So things are to me. Yeah, I'll take Detroit in this one. I feel like things are lining up for Detroit to be able to pull this one out. Um, it's just because even like this past Sunday, they played Cleveland in a tough one, only end up
Yeah.
losing by 3. So, and not saying like Cleveland are world beaters or anything to that effect, but still you got to show up, and that's what they have been doing. I know it's been tough on them consistently getting these losses, but yeah, they still been showing up game in, game out, and giving a good fight. So I think this is going to be the one that they actually get a dub to have the world watching, with it being the only game on at the time, but that's on a Thursday morning game. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I got Detroit in this one.
I'm picking Chicago. I said last week.
I know, I remember. It's understandable.
I just Jared Goff.
Yeah,
I mean, it's tough. I mean, if you got to pick between Jared Goff and Andy Dalton,
yeah,
it's not the easiest pick, but I think I'm picking Andy. And so it's obviously it'll be at Thanksgiving. I hope for Detroit to take the able to do it. It'd be a great stage to be able to get that first win
yeah,
of the year for sure. Where everybody watching the
absolutely.
convention, be on the show in town on that time slot. So I hope they do get it. I'm just not picking them ever to do it. So I'm going with this one. Um, I'll skip our game and we'll do that one last.
Okay.
The Thanksgiving evening game is going to be the 6-4 Buffalo Bills visiting the 5-5 New Orleans Saints. This one's going to be interesting because the Bills, as
It
we
is.
know, have been on the struggle bus as of late, and
Yeah,
it seems like it's just kind of up and down, up and down, up and down with them. Last weekend their doors blown off somehow. I
incredible.
still don't know how that happened. But they are kind of Cowboys adjacent. I think you talked about
Yeah.
that. Just how it's like, just when you think like, all right, they figure it out, they turn around, they'll be fine. They get
Hmm.
slapped in the mouth. Now, obviously, the Cowboys didn't get beat as bad as the Chiefs did last
Yeah,
week, but it was still a letdown
yeah,
in their performance. So you certainly look at this is an opportunity for them to kind of right the ship a little bit, but they're on the road, they're at New Orleans, obviously a tough environment to play in no matter what, and that defense is very, very good. And if
at times.
it seems like where the Bills have struggled is on the offensive. Their defense has been good,
Yeah.
but their offense has been where they've been unable to really get things going. And so I think there's somewhat of a Chiefs Cowboys type dynamic in this game, in that the
Yeah.
Bills cannot start slow. I don't think in that game. If they could allow that crowd to be in it consistently, they allow that defense to feed off of that crowd. That can kind of go sideways really, really quickly. I think that's kind of what happened with the Cowboys against the Chiefs, and so I can
Yeah.
see that dynamic kind of showing itself in this game. Um, and now we talked about this last week. We said the Bills had to win last week because if they didn't,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you look up and you're not in first place anymore. And guess what? New England is in
Yeah.
first place in the division now. So
Incredible.
the sense of urgency is certainly there, even though it was last week and they fell flat. I just think with this game, there's just too much at stake. They lose this game and go 6-5. That division might be wrapped up. I mean, it sounds weird, but obviously we know they play them twice. So
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be wrapped up. They still got the 2 games.
yeah, I
It'd
was
be close though. It'd be. It'd be close though.
I think from a momentum perspective, that's going to be a tough hill
Yeah.
to climb, because now you look at it, you have to kind of win both those games, because
Yeah.
now you've put yourself in that position, particularly if you lose this game too, to go to 6-5, like you're swimming upstream the rest of the year, and
Yeah.
so it's just going to be interesting to see how it goes. Particularly how well New England's defense is playing right now. You cannot be
Yeah.
struggling going into that game against that team. And so this offense has to kind of find their footing at some point. And if they don't, that's going to be a buzzsaw. So for their
Yeah.
sake, I'm going to pick the Bills in this one. Not a ton of confidence in it because of what we've seen over the past few weeks. But I think knowing what's at stake here, and knowing that now that they really cannot put in their cruise control, they have to be aggressive. They have to come out and punch these dudes in the mouth before they let the defense allow the crowd to get into it and become a factor. So I'm gonna go Bills in this one, because they have to win this game, bro. They have to.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Agreed. Yeah. I was hoping that the when it came to Saints defense, especially last week, that they would have been much better against the Eagles, and
Yeah,
it was just things were crazy in the game. But I'm expecting, like you said, with New Orleans being at home, it's a Thursday evening game, uh, prime time for them. That crowd is going to be full from Thanksgiving and ready to yell
yeah,
for straight. So yeah, Buffalo, they're gonna have to show up that offense. Josh Allen can't have another letdown of a game if they want an opportunity to win a division, because that that speed on that defense can be a problem if he's not careful. And that's what I'm hoping is I really want Buffalo to win this one. I think they will, but I really want them to, because I do not want Patriots being number one in a division and Brady's not there anymore. It's like, what is going on? Because that
right,
was like the whole talk was like, the only reason why they got it trashed division and having Tom Brady, and now Brady's gone. You actually have a good, not saying the division is good, but
it's
Buffalo's actually supposed to be good.
right.
And so, so if they're falling off just like this after like last year was supposed to be an opportunity for them to represent in the Super Bowl, and then the following year they just fall off like this, it's like what's what's happening? And it's not even like the you would expect it to have been the defense that would have fell off, because that's what typically happens is
Right.
the offense can be is much more consistent, but it's the defense that goes in ebbs and flows from season to season in the NFL. So for the defense to be still be consistent, but the offense to be going what they're going through is incredible. But yeah, I agree with you. I got Buffalo winning this one as well. It's a must win. Yeah, going 6-5. Still having 2 games against that New England defense is not a thing that you want to deal with.
Oh, no, you need to stack those wins up while you can.
Exactly that part.
All right, so not the last game of the day, but certainly in my eyes, the main event, and probably the most important game. It's going to be the 5-5 Las Vegas Raiders visiting the 7-3 Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, the Raiders got a lot going on, and we kind of talked about that last week in terms of off the field stuff that they have been dealing with. They got their doors blown off by Cincinnati last week
Yeah.
at home. So coming off of a short week, having to go on the road, obviously Vegas, and that was not a super long trip, but trip nonetheless in a short week makes things more difficult, certainly. Um, so I will hand over to you. Just thoughts on the game and what you feel like are the keys to be able to come out victorious in this one and kind of break out of this semi funk that the Cowboys have been in these past 3 weeks.
Tyrant's back, so yeah, we're good. Nah, it's gonna be Matt Heffel. Right as of right now, he's supposed to be playing, which was the same thing last week. But we did our video. Yeah, he was expected to play, and then what was it, like an hour before the game or so? So Tyrant's not playing.
Right.
Well, okay, yeah,
That
okay,
changes things.
that's what exactly. But yeah, with I feel like with Tyron playing, Dex, his backside will be, well, of course, it'll be much more protected, but he'll be more comfortable, have better push up front as well. It's just crazy how just one position like that does so much great work for the entire line. And also, I think I'm I'm not sure how I want to put it as far as the Connors, because now that they swapped out Connor Williams for Connor McGovern for Williams,
Mhm.
but this will be the first time all season, at least, that we've had our Tyron has played, Zach has played, and Lyall has played together. We're going into week 12, and this will be the first time the three of them have played
First
together
time in
since.
2 seasons, by the way.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't play
is.
all last year. So first time since 2019 that they've
Yeah.
been on the field at the same time.
So it's just crazy. So hopefully this will be the first time for the rest of the season that they actually play together. But yeah, I think we're having him there. Hopefully CD will be feeling better. And to be honest, I wouldn't be upset if he missed this game,
Yeah.
just to be safe. Young receiver or just a young player, don't want the concussions to build up. Don't want to make it worse, especially with it being a short week. At
Mhm.
least you can still take the time, bring them back next week against New Orleans, because that will end up being what, like 10, 12 days right there. If they actually uh, not let him play on Thursday and then just play
Right.
next week. So I think that'd be much more healthy for him. And then he has 10 days to the next game after that. So
Yeah.
it's I think I think they should look at that. And then, but yeah, I think they should be able to put together a good game to be able to win this one. Like I said, Vegas is going through it.
Hmm.
Coach being foolish, their number one receiver being foolish, and then the DB tripping too. Like they're going through it.
Mhm.
So I think it's finally caught up to them as far as like the struggle, and I think it's just going to be this way for the rest of the year. And they had a talented or have a talented team, but
Mhm.
it's just a lot going on, and it's hard to overcome, which is understandable. They're human.
Right.
What you think?
Um, this is kind of one of those games where I kind of feel like they need to put them away early, kind of like what they did with Atlanta, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't let them hang around because they, like you said, they're a talented team. So if you
Yeah.
let them hang around, you don't want to you don't want to be in that situation where all of a sudden Deshaun Jackson catches a bomb or whatever else to
Exactly.
keep the game open. So I think that it's important for them to establish themselves early. I want them to run the ball more, establish that run game. I know it was tough last week, but I really would have liked them to commit to a little bit more. I think Dak threw for like 43 attempts, which, they weren't that far behind to just abandon the run game that much. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like they were down by 3 touchdowns. So, there was room to do that, and that could have potentially obviously the pass coverage was not there. So I would have liked to see them try to run the ball more.
Yeah.
Neither running back got more than 9 carries. So I would have liked
Yeah.
to see them do more from that perspective. Um, so I hope that they're able to establish the run in this game and kind of give, take the pressure off of Dak because obviously
Yeah.
he hadn't been hit that much all year in one game, and then now you're playing again in 4 days. So I would
Yeah.
like for them to at least be able to establish the run more. I want them to have close to 30 carries in this game because it gives them the opportunity to dictate the pace of the game, which I would have liked for them to do last week. We kind of talked about that, discussing
Yeah.
the predictions that you want to do what you can to limit the Chiefs, being on the field. And so if you can establish
Yeah.
that run game, take the air out of the ball we mentioned and just kind of make it a shorter game, you give
Yeah.
yourself a bigger chance. And so trying to, I think, maybe do a little bit too much airing it out and make things difficult because you go 3 and out, you didn't really use any of the clock, and now they get the
A
ball back.
minute and 12.
Right. So it's tough. So, um, I hope that they are able to kind of apply a sense of urgency in this game, but not in a way where they're just like, throwing the ball all over the place, but just a sense of urgency
Yeah.
and saying, we got to make sure we keep control of this game throughout. Because I don't think there was any point in that Chiefs game where you felt like they had control at all. From the
Yeah.
opening kick all the way to the end, they were just kind of playing catch up the whole way. And so I would like to see them kind of be the aggressor and be the team that dictates the pace. And I feel like this is kind of one of those teams that you have the opportunity to do that with. Because even the Bengals, who were seemingly struggling up until that game, found a way to
Yeah.
put it together in Vegas. So that's the key for me is just trying to establish the run game. And obviously the defense played well enough last week, so I don't really have too many
Yeah.
critiques of them. Might be the last game we get a consistent dose of Michael Parsons at the end. And so I'd love to
Yeah.
see him get to Derek Carr a little bit, rough him up,
Yeah.
and make some things happen from that perspective. So the recipe's there. I think the talent's there. They just got to put it together and have both sides of the ball play consistent and get something going from that perspective. So I think we both agree that we picked them to win this game, but, certainly kind of have that, I don't want to say hesitancy necessarily, but just like I guess being cautious about the fact that you
Yeah.
got to get this game because we
Yeah.
talked
Too
about
bad they're at home too.
yeah, and we talked about wanting to at least get 2 out of these 3.
Yeah.
So if you lose this game, you don't have a chance to do that. So I think at this point you got to get this game, and then you have a week to prepare for New Orleans, and then obviously, like you said before, go on that extended break after that game.
Yeah.
But it's vital for me that they got this is a must win for them. I know it sounds weird, but I think they got to get this win if they want to keep up with the potential to get number 1 seed. They got to win this game. Period. So it's pressure, but I think they got the ability to get it done. I mean, they're playing the Raiders, like you said, they've been reeling over the past month and a half. So this is an
Yeah.
opportunity to kind of get right, and they should do that. They should do that. So that's it. Any final thoughts for wrap this bad boy up?
Uh, no. Yeah. They, like I said last week, they need to score first. Uh, Pointed that out. When they score first, typically it ends up uh, they end up winning, and a lot of times they end up at a blowout as well
Right.
when they score first. So yeah, they need to that first drive, put it together, go put up a touchdown, and then just go rolling from that point on. Because then Vegas has to try to keep up with them. So start early, start often.
There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's gonna be it for us. As always, like, share, subscribe, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the
Yeah.
time off. Enjoy the time with your loved ones. Certainly, kick back, get some good food, get some good eats in, and watch these games this Thursday. But that's it for us. We'll be back later this week to discuss the rest of the games in this week and recap what we saw on Thursday. So, as always, guys, we appreciate the support. Glow Sun Sports, YouTube, like, share, subscribe. For your ambition, like, share, subscribe. We got a new video up on there for you to check out as well. And of course, Glow Sun, or Cause We Geek, excuse me, Cause We Geek. Check that out as well. So we appreciate you guys as always. For Will, I am Jay, and we are out.